Good evening, our good, wonderful fans, supporters, followers, family members, and friends of the Issues Room. We're grateful to be back here again. Having celebrated Christmas yesterday, today is considered Boxing Day. Thank you so much for coming through tonight. If you're there, we say thank you. Join us for the next hour or so as we come to discuss the things that matter to Liberia, to Africa, and the Black diaspora. Today is our 209th broadcast, the 26th of December 2023, and we're pushing toward the end of the year. And indeed, the year will come to an end this Sunday, which will be the 31st. I am Volcano Shelton, welcoming you here tonight. We're going to have a good one, a conversation that I thought will be necessary. Having discussed with my colleagues, the Issues Room decided to give President Weah his flowers, especially considering all of the elections around the world that are marred with scandals, and folks are saying that those elections were not free, fair, and credible. To a greater extent, our elections was not as free, fair, and credible, but it was good enough that President Weah could concede the defeat. And that in itself is, people say, plausible, it's laudable, it's celebratory. And so we've come tonight to just say thank you, President Weah, for sustaining the peace in our country. Because as we speak right now, the people in Serbia are demonstrating, they're causing chaos. The people in the Democratic Republic of Congo are themselves concerned about the outcome of the elections as the count continues. They are saying that the elections marred. We just seen what happened in the Gabon with President Bongo being kicked out through a military coup as a result of unfair elections. We also saw what happened in Sierra Leone, our next door neighbor. The opposition political party headquarters was surrounded by soldiers and police of the ruling government, throwing tear gas here, intimidation tactics, and they even created serious chaos in Sierra Leone. But yet, President Madabio sustained a second term. It could have gone anyway if the people of Sierra Leone decided to riot and go in the streets. Anything could have happened to our neighbors. So again, we say thank you for joining us here. A lot has been unpacked over the last several days. Today, I believe today or yesterday, one of these days, Deputy Speaker, who is still in a serious running for the speakership of the 55th legislature, Mr. Fonadi Kofa, held a press conference today. I'm not sure if it was a public relations press conference, but we'll talk about it a little bit. Again, we say thank you. The hope is that Moses and Alphonso will join us momentarily. But in the meantime, we encourage you to come here, weigh in, chime in, say what you want to say. This is the Issues Room. We discuss the issues. And so we say thank you. We also want to say happy belated Merry Christmas to all of our supporters and fans who continue to hang with us every Tuesday and Friday. I know that yesterday was Christmas. It was calm. From my end, it wasn't a festive one. The weather was very good in the Philadelphia, in the suburb. I went to work, of course. This is America. Um, we don't stop the clock because we have to celebrate. somebody has to do the job. So I went to work, um, left work late evening, and just returned home, caught up on some basketball games. We got over 5 games, uh, and caught the Philadelphia 76ers, lost to the Miami Heat, and then attempted to watch the Dallas Phoenix game into the third quarter, and I thought it was bad time, and so I crashed. I don't know what's the outcome of that game. I would check. Didn't have the time today. Went back to work, but Christmas it was here and it's gone. That's how fast things are. Our world is moving so fast. People don't have the time to even celebrate. A lot of folks, I'm sure, went to work. The people in Gaza, I believe, couldn't celebrate. The people in Ukraine couldn't celebrate. I mean, when I say celebrate, like, you're celebrating, of course, the Ukraine had a celebration I saw on Al Jazeera. The folks just across the West Bank in Israel were celebrating next door to the wall, but the truth is, our world is in turmoil. Our world is in serious, serious turmoil. And there's no way around it. Something is happening somewhere and everywhere. And let's come back to Liberia, our native country. For at least our peace is still sustained. And that is why I said we must give credit to where credit is due. It could have gone anyway. Anything could have happened as a result of our elections. There were folks who were pushing the sitting president not to concede to defeat. There were folks in his camp who were the hardliners and saying, hey, this election is so tight that even if you decide to take it, nobody will feel it. But he showed integrity. He showed commitment to the peace. Now, of course, in his inaugural address, many of the things he promised, he didn't live up to them. But in the grand scheme of things, I think that was the greatest decision he made for the Liberian people. And you can't ask for more. So President Weah tonight, the issues room, is going to look at the elections and what could have been, considering what happened and is happening in other countries. And so tonight, we say thank you. Join us here. Come in, weigh in, and let's have this conversation together. Let me bring in Moses Sandy, who is back there. Welcome. Uh, we're back here again. Today is the 26th day. We just celebrated Christmas. New Year is on the horizon, which is my day. I'm not making a big deal yet. Some of the folks, they go on posting birthdays is loading and and all of that. But I'm keeping mine a little quiet. Usually on my birthday, on New Year's Day, I spend time with myself, just giving thanks to God for ushering me into a new year. And then whatever happens later on, that happens. So, of course, I intend not to work. I have customarily worked on my birthday. But this time around, we're getting old now. We say, listen, let's take a break. There's work, no play. It makes Jack a dull ball. So I just want to rest myself on New Year's Day and reflect. But welcome, my brother.
Thank you, Volcano. Um, Let me say pre happy birthday to you. Um, for every time a birthday comes, that becomes a time of reflection. It's time to appreciate the blessing of life because every second counts at that, Volcano.
Mm-hmm.
So we wish you well, good health, and prosperity in the years ahead. But I know the boys will meet, right?
No, absolutely
Come
not.
on, man. We have to meet the chew on Sunday, my man.
No, absolutely not. Listen, I'm just I'm just a different breed when it comes to these things.
Okay.
Any of the things that I do in life, I don't make it a
Yeah. Yeah.
unfair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Right.
Just make it simple. Yeah. But it's a pleasure being here again. The topic tonight is very important, and I agree with you 100% that Mr. Weah deserves a credit for what he did after he lost the runoff election. It takes few leaders, not only in Africa, globally, to do what he did. So we should commend him for that. And let me say hi to our many viewers and join you in asking them to please do us a favor by just sharing the link. Invite more people and be a part of this discussion. Thank you, Volcano, for the opportunity.
Thank you. So I have several clips here queued, and so I'd like to go to the first one,
Hmm.
uh, and just to see what's trended and trending,
Hmm.
and why we Liberians should be grateful and thankful for our continued peace and stability and the change of power, because there's still some disgruntled disgruntled folks who were so comfortable and didn't think that 6 years will come, and they're still not happy with the decision by President Weah.
But
They still look back and they're wondering how the heck President Weah could have accepted the result almost about 1%, you know, of how he lost. There could
okay.
be any reason for them to claim that he won the elections because it was that close. And for him to have accepted the result, many folks are still mad, at his decision. So let me go to the most recent in Africa as it is right now, the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, the result is not out yet. They're still
You see
counting.
the people checking.
Yeah. But interestingly, there's a lot of saying that this election is not fair. Many people didn't vote.
People in Congo are waiting for the first results from chaotic elections that were marked by delays and malfunctioning equipment. The presidential and legislative elections were extended by a day following a slew of logistical problems that prevented some polling stations from opening. There were also problems registering voters and reports of violence. The extension prompted some opposition candidates to cry foul, saying the logistical hurdles could affect the credibility of the results. The DRC is Africa's second largest country. It is among the world's poorest, despite its vast reserves of copper, cobalt, and gold. Well, I'm joined now by our correspondent Jonas Gerding in Kinshasa. Jonas, it's good to have you with us. This election was, we've said it, it was chaotic. What went wrong?
I mean, none of this came as a big surprise because the country is really vast. The country is as big as Western Europe, so it's really hard to get the voting material to the various parts of the country. But the degree of the chaos was something that really struck people by surprise. And apparently the government said that, or at least the Electoral Commission said that it's better to push through with the elections instead of risking a delay and the anger of the opposition.
The Election Commission has been heavily criticized for being unable to organize a proper vote. So how credible will this election be?
Yeah, so this election doesn't look very credible to outsiders, but we also need to, we need to take in mind that people were not able to vote at the first day. So there's some kinds of sense to that you said we give them some more time so that they have the possibility to vote at the second day. Things got a little bit tricky because there were even people voting today on the third day, even though the Electoral Commission said that the actual vote is already finished. And so there's going to be lots of debates ahead. But the Electoral Commission is an institution which has always been related to problems. There have always been discussions about manipulations with recent elections. So, but still it's a situation where we'll need to see what the results will be, whether there will be irregularities, and yes, lots of things are yet to be seen.
And Jonas, let's look at the progress the country has made. The 2018 election led to Congo's first peaceful democratic transition of power. So, how is the state of democracy in the DRC tonight?
Yeah, so the last elections are perceived as the first like peaceful transition of powers because before there were always been problems with violence. So people got to power by military activities, by killing presidents. So this is something which was a good thing last time, but we shouldn't confuse this with democratic terms, because last time there were lots of data available which showed that the final results were actually manipulated. And so these elections seem to be very chaotic, but at the same time, Felix Tshisekedi, the incumbent president, is leading the polls before the election, and he has good chances to get re-elected this time. And maybe this is going to be more democratic than the previous ones.
And Jonas, let's broaden this picture for a moment. Why is this election so important for the region and for the rest of the continent?
The DRC has 9 neighboring countries, so its stability is really crucial for the continent. This is a huge issue. We have strategic minerals in the country, which are very important for the energy transition for the entire world. It has the second largest rainforest in the world, which is key for keeping the climate in control. But we shouldn't forget there are 100 million people living in the country, and they have a right for a decent life.
DW's Jonas.
So that's the Democratic Republic of Congo, and as I speak right now, they're still counting, and results could be around the corner. But you heard him clearly say that the current president is in the lead, which of course is always almost customary, where the incumbent is always in the lead. So that's one of the clips to tell you that Democratic Republic of Congo could be, on the verge of anything.
Re-electing
Not
this
just
guy.
not
Yeah.
just re-electing, but on the verge of anything. Put it that way, because a lot of the folks in the opposition are saying that the election's not free and it was not free and fair, and even these counts, they don't believe in the results and they want to rerun or whatever they're talking about.
Well, look, Volcano, the Democratic Republic of Congo has a terrible record when it comes to the issue of democracy. I know you remember the late Singbe Yadima.
No, he's not. He's from Togo.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, but the Democratic Republic of Congo, despite being one of the richest in terms of natural resources, a country with over 100 million people remains one of the poorest. And what is obtaining in that country today, let's just go in our own backyard. Let's go to neighboring Sierra Leone. Even as we speak, as a result of the outcome of the going election that usher in the current president, Madabio, for a second term, there are still people crying that the process was mad by dishonesty. There was counteractions, and in the wake of the counteractions, people lost their lives. You go to other parts of Africa, you see the same old problem. In Guinea, they had to literally, dethrone the former president because he tried to manipulate the electoral process. So on the continent, we talk about democracy, but our style of practice, and as a black man, I'm not trying to put us down as black people, but when it comes to allowing people to have that freedom, that political freedom to decide who leads, it's something that Volcano we still struggle with. We
Yeah.
really struggle with
I think
that.
the president you were trying to call is Lauren Kabila.
Yeah, Lauren Kabila.
He
Yeah,
was in the
mhm,
Democratic Republic of Congo.
absolutely. You're right. Thanks for the correction.
So
Yeah,
let's go.
you know.
Let's go to the clip from Sierra Leone. Since you mentioned Sierra Leone, what I
Yes.
queued to tell you that there was a lot of issues with Sierra Leone's elections.
Hmm.
My daughter has asthma. I brother, can you hear me? I brother, we need help. We need help. We're in the party office. They find live bullets and let them find tear gas on the floor in one room. I'm here about 20 people, including my daughter. We need help. They need to stop.
Just here on the press conference, and then the next thing we knew, we started hearing fire, and our whole office is surrounded, police and army. All of the vehicles around have been damaged, including that belonging to our presidential candidates.
So when you talk to folks who are from Sierra Leone, they were very optimistic that Samora Kamara from the APC was going to win the elections. But from that clip, you can see that the ruling government sent the military and police, and look at what they did: tear gas the main opposition party headquarters.
Hmm.
So let's reflect a little bit here with regards to Liberia and why we should be grateful that our elections sets a new uh, record for Africa and even the world.
Hmm.
Because even America's democracy that brought Joe Biden to power was questioned.
Of course.
Trump Trump said he was bouncing G. I'm my own man, but he said he was bouncing G, not leaving.
A man went to Congress with his people.
Yeah. So even the frame of democracy couldn't sustain the credibility of democracy, put it that way.
Yeah.
And it took a soccer player who we continue to say a soccer player, uh, the guy who was not able to run the country, but at least he made a wise decision and said, listen, in as much as power is good, I don't think that the result of these elections are not credible enough for me to concede. So if Weah had sent the military and the police at Unity Party headquarters on Broad Street and started to do what they were doing, what type of picture that would paint for our democracy? Because we've already been down that road, we're on the verge. Everyone says we like a kettle that is boiling, and it's just a matter of, the lid popping out, and so. What do you think, Moses?
But it is well put, Volcano. Let's look at Liberia history, and that will further give justification as to why we think of Mr. Weah. And many people, will follow the issues room. Today we say, but you guys are sounding a little bit different. That's what we do. When it comes to objectivity, when it comes to truth telling, we say it as it is. I'm a strong critic of Mr. Weah, because he was just a terrible leader. But on this one, we gave it to him. You remember, Volcano, when we were young men in Liberia in 1985, the elections that was managed by the late Emma as chairman of the then Elections Commission. It was then reported that that election was won by the late Jackson F. Doe. But the late Samuel Doe and his people manipulated the process. That laid the basis for the Kuompa invasion. It laid the basis for the Civil War, and there's too many back-to-back civil wars that we had in our country. So to see a man who many say he lacked the ability to rationalize, to make informed decisions, to say, well, you know what? Uh, because I want to be president, I don't think it is the right decision to reverse the will of the people only because I want to be president.
And only
Uh,
because my men are pushing me too,
yeah,
you know.
no. And in fact, you said it earlier that there are some people in the CDC and other places who wanted Mr. Weah to do everything, to reverse the decision of the people. I would not even say some, I would say several. I would say several. I was in a conversation last weekend with some guys who, have contact within the CDC. They said when Mr. Weah decided to place a phone call to the incoming president, then some of his men had assembled. They were sitting there talking, and they were all telling him, "Well, Mr. President, you don't have to concede. We'll go to the Supreme Court, file for an injunction, and we'll institute a legal process that will start the whole thing." And I was told that what the president did was that he walked away from the group. He went into his bedroom and he called. I don't know how credible that story is, but he called and considered defeat. And I think we should commend him for that. And one of the reasons why we need to commend him for that, Volcano, this is the first time in the history of Liberia that an election, and we're talking about since the Civil War. I'm not talking about toward the end time, since the Civil War. Weah's election, this going election, was the first to have been conducted in the absence of, international peacekeepers. The United Nations was in there, ECOWAS was in there. Mr. Weah and people, if he personally had not thought about the good of the country, they would have done everything to manipulate the process. And then what we're talking about now, maybe Thunder Day Liberia would have been in chaos. But George Weah said, and I think we should commend him, he said, "This is not about me." "Oh, Mr. President, no, you're president already." He said, "This is not about me, Volcano." That's nationalism. That's love of country. That's patriotism. He demonstrated that. And I think he deserves, international applaud. He deserves applaud from local Liberians and Liberians all over the world.
And,
Because Volcano, our country would have been in trouble by now.
and let me be strict here. When these results came out, I was one of the people who said he had no options. But looking back, and as I continue to see that it's almost like we're going to be recycling again. Some of these people who were just fence sitting the other day now, they're looking to be in this new government. They're all their skin itching. And I was saying to myself, were they really looking at what it could have been had we are not conceded to defeat? Would these people be running back looking for jobs? Because we know that we're going to see some of these people recycling again.
Oh, yeah, obvious, man.
Okay? But then I said to myself, listen, the Liberia that I want to go to, maybe I wouldn't have gone again.
Of course.
I was there for the first round of the elections. I reported and I said there were minor stuff happening, but the people resolved,
Yeah.
to be there and cast a ballot was overwhelming, and it was critical for the process. And like you said, there were no peacekeepers.
No.
No one there protecting Ellen's vote.
No.
There were no peacekeepers there, no ECOWAS there to protect Ellen's vote for her 2 terms. This president was on his own with our national local security to sustain and the will of the people to prevail. And listen, man, Moses, there is no way around it. We must give credit to where it's due. The will of the people to prevail, our national security for maintaining a semblance of peace. They didn't go around throwing tear gas like in the case of Sierra Leone.
Oh.
They didn't surround party headquarters. There was no threat. In fact, the people were so peaceful on the day of elections on October 10th. I remembered it vividly. They were so peaceful. No one asked anybody who you voting for, what's your name, what's your child name. You know, there were no party regalia, there were no party paraphernalia, there were nothing of anything that was, you know, symptomized that you're from this, you're from that. People were just quiet, people were just patient. And I told you that some people went by midnight, took their mattresses to sleep, just to be there when the voting started at 8 o'clock. And one of the precincts at polling places in the Congo Town precinct was not prepared until 10 o'clock. And then those people who were there earlier could not get to the beginning of the line because there was no line, there was no setup. But I'm just giving you this as, you know, reflection of how we got it good. And I must say the truth here that Mr. Boyka, you must sustain this peace as well. And I don't doubt that he wouldn't, because he's a man of peace. But honestly, anything could have happened.
Of course.
Anything, Moses. Our elections, we already knew the country was in peril. We talked about those things that were trending in the country. We talked about how people were disenfranchised and disgruntled. We talked about people with no pay who were not paid. We talked about all of those things, Moses. And even now, people are not paid. Even in this Christmas and these holidays, people are not paid. But they still resolve to be patient. That's the beauty of the Liberian man. Exercise virtue of patience and say we will wait for the right time. And that right time was to go to the polls and to vote. And thank God for President Weah. He listened to his heart. He communed with his God. And irrespective of what the people were telling him, he said, listen, man, this is not about me.
Yeah.
This is about this country. It will sustain the peace. That's affordable. There's no way around it. Let's go to another clip quick, just so you see what is trending as we hold this conversation. If you just joining us, this is the Issues Room 209th production. We're discussing what could have happened had President Weah not concede defeat in our just ended elections that everyone now is jumping around the place. I think we're seeing what other elections outcomes.
Yeah, other places. Yeah.
That's what I'm about to say. Outcomes are, and here's one, not in a black country, but in Serbia.
Yeah.
This is not a continent of Africa. This is in Serbia.
A team of international observers says Serbia's snap elections were marred by several irregularities. The Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe alleged there were media bias, vote buying, and ballot box stuffing. Preliminary results show the populist Serbian Progressive Party, led by President Aleksandar Vučić, won 46.7% of the vote. That's almost twice as much as the second-placed opposition alliance, Serbia Against Violence. The opposition has called for protests this evening in the capital, Belgrade. Here's what one of the election observers had to say about the irregularities.
There was no
fair election. We should not speak about fair election. It was unfair. I can repeat the wording of the OSCE lady. It was unfair. And I think if you ask me as a politician, then I said, I think the victory in Beograd was stolen from the opposition.
The clear words right there. Let's go now to DW's Brussels Bureau Chief Alexandra Phenomenon. She joins us from the Serbian capital, Belgrade. Alexandra, the opposition says it's rejecting the results. It's called for protests. What's going on? We can hear something's going on where you are right now.
Yeah, we are in the city center of Belgrade in front of the election committee, and the people, and maybe our cameraman Martin could show you a bit around the people that you see around us, those crowds. There are supporters and members of the pro-Western opposition united under the name Serbia Against Violence, and they are here because they are saying they are not accepting those results. They think that the victory, at least here in Belgrade, was stolen from them, and that is why they are here, and they demand from the election commission to cancel the results. They are not okay with what happened. They think they should have won here in Belgrade.
And Moses, quickly as I move this of the screen, same thing happened while the results were being announced. The Unity Party said they're not taking anything but victory. This is what happened here.
Yeah.
And in fact, the chaos has started in Belgrade. The violence currently going on. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
People are breaking into infrastructure. Yeah. There's a lot of violence going on right now in Belgrade as a result of the elections result there. I wanted to go to another one.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to comment quick while
I just wanted to say that from what we're seeing happening in Serbia, just tells you that when it comes to the issue of dishonesty or election or fraud, it's not unique to Africans. It's a global problem. People cheat all over the world. Dishonesty is a global problem. But does that mean that we should not try to manage it?
Not nothing to do with white man, black man.
Yeah, no.
Chinese man. Liberian.
Yeah, you know, the people do the same thing, you know. So it's a global problem. So on this one, again, I want to give Mr. Weah, you know, an applaud for saying to Jefferson Koji, Moba Molu, and all the other guys, Eugene Nangbe there, that look, man, this is about Liberia. It's not about you. You know, that was a tough decision to make.
Absolutely, absolutely. And let's go to the next clip here, because honestly, had he, you know, thought to say, listen, I'm going to hold on, no telling what could have happened.
Of course.
You know, no telling. And he did the right thing. He did the right thing.
Oh, wow. That's really, eh?
Gabon.
Oh, yeah, Gabon.
De la communauté nationale et internationale que M. Ali Bongo Ondimba est gardé en résidence surveillée. Il est entouré de sa famille et de ses médecins. Une enquête sera commise par les autorités compétentes et les concernés répondront de leurs actes. Peuple gabonais, c'est enfin notre essor vers la félicité. Que Dieu et les manes de nos ancêtres bénissent le Gabon. Honneur et fidélité à la patrie, je vous remercie.
And to send a message to all the friends that we have all over the world, to tell them to make noise, For the people here have arrested me and my family My son is somewhere. My wife is in another place, and I'm at the residence. Nothing is happening. I don't know what's going on. So I'm calling you to make noise, make noise, really.
Je vous assure que ce que les Gabonais voulaient, c'était juste que le système Bongo PDG quitte le pouvoir. Parce que comme on le disait, 60 ans, c'est trop. Et il fallait une intervention parce que le Gabon était jusqu'à ce jour une prison à ciel ouvert. Depuis samedi, on n'avait pas de nouvelles de nos parents. Et je pense que ce hold-up électoral qui était prévu a été freiné par l'armée et je pense que c'est salutaire.
La France condamne le coup d'État militaire qui est en cours au Gabon. Et la France surveille avec beaucoup d'attention l'évolution de la situation sur place et réaffirme son souhait que le résultat de l'élection, lorsqu'il sera connu, puisse être respecté. Donc, nous surveillons cela avec attention.
中方密切关注加蓬形势发展，呼吁加蓬相关方从国家和人民根本利益出发，通过对话和平解决分歧，尽快恢复正常秩序，确保邦哥总统人身安全，维护国家和平稳定和发展大局。
So when you listen to countries like France, Moses, and countries like China, that tells you when they have put puppets in power, they will make these kinds of statements, right?
Mhm.
You condemning the will of the people over a hegemony that has been in power for 60 years, successively, 60
Yeah,
years.
yeah, from
Just the bongos.
yeah, the bongos, yeah,
Just
always led, yeah.
And so where does the will of the people come into play? Of course, they said that the guy who is the military guy is the cousin or uncle to Ali Bongo. So it's like taking the wine from the old bottle and putting it in the new bottle. But at least,
yeah, at least this one is different, right?
We move from this one party group, and now we have military, and hopefully they will move from military into civilian. But this is what could have happened in our case. Let's just assume if President Weah did not concede, all his men will be running away and he will be there. Let me know, you know. And so, was it necessary? If the will of the people have prevailed, no. Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. And you know, Volcano, as I was watching that video from Gabon, it just took me back to 1980 in Liberia, when Liberians took to the street after Toba administration was overthrown. You saw how the people were in the street, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that show up in Gabon and to celebrate the coming in of the military did so without even understanding the implication of a military leadership.
Yeah.
It was just peer pressure. Yeah. You know, people jubilating, everybody acting in the moment. When reality began to set in. And now, again, we can say the change was also necessary because you had a president who was determined to do everything to manipulate the process. So the people said, no, this cannot happen. We'll reverse it. Then he said in and said the people should make noise.
Yeah.
So when you were poorly managing the country, undermining the electoral process, why didn't you think that this thing would have turned the other way around? That's why I would like to commend Mr. Weah and also commend incoming President Joseph Boakai. The other day I listened to him when he had the interview with the VOA. He said, look, when people serve and when your tenure is over, it's good to live graciously. don't put up no fight. And that's what George Weah did. When the people rejected him, he said, I will leave graciously. I mean, Volcano, this guy spent over $50 million. And the man lost the election with less than 1% of the voters. 28,000 people decided that he will not be president again.
But let's see what Emmanuel Jackson is saying here. I think Weah did it because he accumulated wealth from his position as president. The problem is seditions are left in the cold. Having carried out Weah's thuggish, for 6 years.
For 6 years.
Very sad how Liberians have been used for decades by these crooks, getting away with everything done against the country. So there are mixed, feelings about Weah's decision to concede to defeat, right? But again, when you look at Liberia's turmoil over the last 40 plus years since 1980, anything could have happened. And all of us will not be saying these things. We will say, well, the country is in quagmire right now. Is
nothing you can do.
And the whole country is going back to zero. And I'm telling you, the greatest asset that we are give back to the Liberian people is the sustenance of this peace, Moses. There are so many hundreds and hundreds of foreigners in our country who are hustling and living by the skin of the teeth. If anything jeopardizes our peace, they're ready to loot that country. They're ready to loot that country. We have so many hundreds and hundreds, if not millions of youth who don't have anything to do. They're waiting for the slightest
to take to the streets.
You saw what happened in April 6th. You and I were in Liberia.
I mean, we saw the
April
thing.
6th was the deadliest war within less than months. The whole capital and its environment was
down.
zero.
But then destroy everything.
All of the United Nations vehicles, government vehicles, all of those things were driven in foreign countries. So, for where Liberia has come and knowing the history, I think we should be grateful.
We should.
Be grateful that we can still brag of our peace and that we have played a major role in sustaining this peace. Let's go back to one or two of the clips here.
Sure.
I reject any temptation of imposing pain, hardship, agony, and uncertainty on our people. My name will not be used as an excuse for one drop of human blood to be spilled in this country.
Absolutely.
I think
you see that?
Coming, hold on.
Dictate that I respect the will of the people as announced by the National Election Commission.
So this is the first time I told him, right?
Yeah, when he considered defeat, right?
When Joe Biden considered defeat and said that he will not allow himself to be used. And that was what your man came and started talking. You remember when he said,
he told the message you should take to the street.
Let's make noise. Make noise. Make noise.
I like Gabon, eh?
Let's make noise. And the Papa said, I will not go down that road. You won't make your noise. Go. Make your noise.
Yeah. And we're giving credit for that too.
Yeah. So it's like your time. I give it to you.
Yeah, it's my time. You gotta go.
Because that election was also close, very close.
It was, the way the process was managed, the way the process was undermined by former President Salif, that really put the Ome at a disadvantage point. Can you imagine Mr. Weah then won 14 of the 15 counties. He got 61% of the second round.
Yeah.
You understand? He got 61%. Now, what makes this, also interesting is that, and this is the thing that a lot of people are missing out on, Volcano. People just say, oh, some people even say, oh, Mr. Weah did not want to be president. That absolute, nonsense. If this man spent over $50 million, he was incumbent, he had absolute power, he had control of everything. For somebody that came from a political party that was labeled broke, financially strapped, spent less than $500,000 to beat you, that's a huge defeat right there. You know what I mean, Volcano, right? Somebody with no name recognition. Let's say somebody with no name recognition. You're in Derby, you run, you contest for a position, you are very popular in the neighborhood, and this man has no name recognition. He's not financially potent as you are.
I would take that back. The man has name recognition.
No, but the point I'm trying to drive yet.
No, but stick to the point. The point is he has name recognition, but he didn't have the money. I think
okay, we take that,
yeah.
No money,
yeah,
broke, and and everywhere you turn Monrovia, Volcano, you went there.
Yeah,
you saw the billboards
everywhere, every light pole.
Everywhere, all the light poles, giving a bag of rice. To Henry Costa, come home. And Ben Sanvi, come on, we'll take care of you. We'll put you in a hotel.
309 room 309.
Yeah, Kefan, come on, we'll take care of you. Wasted thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. And they beat you with 28,000 votes. That's why Jefferson Koji was not prepared to accept. He said, what, 28,000? We can challenge this and put up a fight. But Mr. Weah said, again, as a believer, I believe in predestination, Volcano. Anything that God destines for me, nothing can stop it, my brother.
But God is ultimate, Moses.
Yes. God said Ome Baka was going to be the winner. I may be wrong, but I think it was predestined. And God used George Weah to say, look, you got to accept, this is my will.
That's another thing too, because again, you see, most presidents come to their demise as a result of the stubbornness. But we are hacking onto the angels.
Yes.
Onto his inner soul, his inner spirit.
Yeah.
And listened. But let me come here and address this issue with my man, Rivers S. Pro. Rivers S. Pro said that Mr. Boyka said that there would be no Liberia when he lost.
That absolute falsehood.
Yeah, so don't say that, Rivers S. Pro. We trying to be as objective and nice as it is. But now you coming to spoil the whole thing again. The man say if we are wins again, Liberia finish.
Yes, that's what he said.
Context of Liberia finish as a Liberian.
No leadership.
The man say I'm finished, it means that he dead, literally. No. Or is it context under which he says that
I'm finished?
Hope he's given up. We have wins the presidency again. Liberia is finished.
Yes,
that was Boyka's statement.
That was the contest. He said
we're gonna go and bomb the country. We're gonna bring war.
No, that's not what he said. No,
all of the people just went out and ran with that and said, "How could Boyka think that he wants to be president of a country that he wants to see demolished?"
No, that is not what he meant.
In the Liberian context, when we say finish, you take the exam. And you come outside the hall, the man say, "My man, you probably say, my man, I finish you."
He said, "My man, I finish you."
You feel?
Yeah.
All
so,
right.
Man, he said, "My man, I finished, man." It means that you did not do well, or you show up to job today, and they terminate you. Now you think about all your bills,
and you say, "My man, I finished you." I know.
You tell your man, "Say, my man, I'm finished, man.
Bro,
I know what to do now."
Man, my man, stop it, gonna play. Let me go to one more clip quick, Moses. Yeah. Hey, what's that, bro?
Yeah.
Liberia.
See money?
George Weah conceded election defeat on Friday following a tight race for the presidency. And that means former Vice President Joseph Boakai is set to take the reins. In a second round of voting, Boakai was leading with 50.9% on Friday, with nearly all the ballots counted.
Votes obtained 814,212.
That's a stark contrast to the last election in 2017, when global soccer legend Weah, buoyed by a wave of hope, trounced Boakai in the second round with 62%. But many have grown disillusioned with Weah since then, due to a lack of progress on his promises to stamp out corruption and raise living standards. Boakai supporters danced in the streets on Friday night.
I'm so glad today to tell Liberian people thank you very much.
Boakai does, however, now inherit major national challenges. Poverty levels are high in a country still recovering from 2 civil wars and the Ebola epidemic that killed thousands. Shortly after results were announced, Boakai said, "We have a job to do," but added that first and foremost, we want to have a message of peace and reconciliation. That message, in a once volatile country, was bolstered by Weah's concession. Speaking on the radio, he said that he had congratulated Boakai on his victory and that, "I urge you to follow my example and accept the results." Those comments stand out in Western Central Africa, a region that has seen 8 coups in 3 years and where elections are frequently contested in court amid accusations of fraud. Instead, the way has now been paved for Liberia's second democratic transfer of power in 7 decades, the first being when Weah swept to office 6 years ago.
And that was a good report when you look at
it. Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Is this what on BBC?
Listen, I just grabbed these things.
Yeah, my man. This guy is a very good reporter, my man. I was listening to the guy, my man. I like his style reading with the emphasis. I mean, complete. That's what we call talking the news. And
Yeah, I call it conversation.
Yeah, it was conversational, and
But so what we're trying to do here now is we've been able to talk about, and the guy just said it in his presentation that it cools as a result of bad elections. So President Weah, if you're listening tonight, we want to say congratulations to you. We're giving you your flowers here tonight, no matter who say what.
Yeah.
We know that it was a tough and bitter pill to swallow. Considering the results and how close and tight it was. But you this time put Liberians first. They were not spectators in the democratic process. Let me put it that way. They were not spectators in the democratic process. They were participants and they were decision makers. And you yielded and you listened. And today we can still enjoy the peace. And let's hope that our country will remain at peace as we transition through the new government's tenure in the next 6 years, Moses.
Absolutely. Volcano, the decision Mr. Weah made to accept the outcome of the election, if he had just taken few steps like that for the last 6 years, to say, I will put Liberia first, I will not build myself, or I will not go and build 47 condominium. I will not tear down my nursery residence. I will not give you the opportunity to run my administration to where this is not about you. Mr. Weah would have been re-elected if he had put Liberia first. But he allowed his personal ego. He allowed the personal egos of his followers. He paid no attention to detail. He was disengaged. He was completely, even though he was in the country, but he was like literally absent from the country. That's what turned the people against him. How do you lead a group of people? You don't talk to them. You don't engage them. You travel for almost 50 days abroad.
Yeah.
How do you expect these people to re-elect you? So he dropped the ball on himself. But again, we want to say thank you so much, Mr. President, outgoing president, for accepting that you lost, and would like to also say thank you to the incoming president, the Honorable Joseph Boaka, who has also stated that when an individual serves, and if your tenure is over and the people decide that it's time for you to quit, you must call it a quit and move on graciously. I think that sets a very good standard for our democracy. What George Weah did has put Liberia on the map.
Mm-hmm.
He will go down in the history that he was the only president since the Civil War that accepted political defeat in the absence of international peacekeepers. That's commendable.
In as much as he was being pushed,
yes,
by a lot of folks.
His supporters, yeah.
But let me just open the line quickly and see if folks want to comment on this segment. We have Nadi Kofa will be going to.
Okay.
He had a press conference.
Okay.
I will call it a PRO conference.
Yeah. Public
as he bids for
the speakership.
So the lines open. Call the number 404-272-2808. Call if you want to participate here in the conversation tonight. 404-272-2808. We're looking forward to your call. We are discussing the action of President Weah to concede to defeat in our elections that just ended. We have a caller calling, and let's pick up this caller quickly. Good evening, caller. Your name, where you calling from?
This is your man Pro. How you doing, Volcano? Thank God I'm home today.
Oh, wow. Welcome to the show, my brother. It's good to hear from you.
Look, I must admit, this is one of the best segments.
Hey, bro, says bro.
Oh, yeah, my man. Seriously, and I mean it. Look, Volcano, sometimes when you see me going after when you made those posts and things, because what I hold you guys a high esteem. You, Moses and Sid Massa are the only people I call journalists. And I swear, I don't call nobody because I grew up in an era of journalism. I know who journalists are. Anybody wearing vests and having microphone or some funny cell phone, you now a journalist. I know, look, I listen to Fanico Whipple. I listen to Gaswa Yemento growing up. I listen to, look, this clip you just played just reminded me of what they got it, Kwame Clement. I know what journalists, I knew when Dylan Observer, they stood by what they said, even though AFL would storm their office. I know what those things are. That's why when I go after you sometimes, because there's a standard I hold you guys. And I mean, with that said, look, I see people making a lot of comments. Oh, people did not they kill hundreds of thousands of people. I don't know how old these people are, but back then during those times, just and if I'm wrong, you can say just looking at AFL soldier, the father, just looking at these guys facing was that terrifying. You know how you can see the U.S. Marine, you see the Army, they look normal. Army wasn't something normal when we were growing up.
And the men they used to call Loli and Tactical.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it Loli coming for you? Begin a serious
Loli coming for you. Can you imagine? So, I mean, we must cherish what just happened. Look, Tamake put those 13 or so people on the post, just kill the people kill them. Yeah. And all those demonstrations that were happening in Tottenham, and people dying to university or LU campus. We saw all those things. Our country was, it was in a turmoil. So we cherish this thing. I mean, and I enjoy those clips that you guys play around the world, in Serbia, in Gabon, all over. Those people did, some of the people did not have the opportunity that we had. And I listened to Konati of Kofa, and I know Moses said the same thing. I know you all play. The guy said something, the similar thing Moses said. The message is the post-war Liberia. This election did not have substantial Western involvement, international involvement. It was like an all-Liberia affair. And one guy called on your show, finally, Moses. I can remember that time that guy called. The guy said, Weah made us shame. And I said, what is dude, man? One of your edition, if you can go back, you listen to that guy, he called from Liberia. The guy said they were expecting something. They expected Weah to have rigged this election. So people were on the edge. Look at the amount of disadvantage people we got in our society for Canada. You know what we were happy? A judge Weah, we were even listening to. You know those people, but now you know what the country, people say, oh, you kill people, or the peace. Let me tell you, in the first place, you have peace. With peace now, you can have the auditing, which is something I support. You think I won't be working and build my farm, push my cartoon and this over
let me put this caller in queue and come back and give you your last 30 seconds. The caller from Rhode Island, it's 737. Can you stay? I'll come right back to you. Let my first caller end his closing statement quick. I'll come right back to you, caller from Rhode Island.
Right.
Go ahead, bro. Wrap it up.
Yeah, so you know, so like I was saying, in the presence of peace, now that we got peace, you can go with the auditing, you can go with every other thing. But if the country was in trauma, there's no way you can do auditing, there's no way you can do war crime or any other thing. So I must commend you guys. This segment is great. I will still be listening. This is very balanced. And you know, I know Judge said I try to spoil your show with the Joseph Wagner statement, but anyway,
we clarify the statement. You know what I mean when you say offending, but don't go there with that.
Yeah. No, but the show was good. Thank you. I'll be listening.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you, Roses.
Continue to give these positive messages. Election is over, and I like the trend that you guys taking. You know, informing people that things are not as bad. You know, concerning our election because it's been terrible elsewhere. Thank you very much for having me. I will be following you guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me go to the next caller. The caller from Rhode Island, 8737. Your name?
Flomo 11.
Yeah, welcome, Flomo.
Yeah, hi. I mean, great show. Look, I just want to speak on this George Weah, conceding. I mean, people give him credit. All right, yeah, I agree. But I mean, we're all forgetting the reason why George Weah and conceded was one of the reasons was this U.S. State Department when it put warning out that if anyone rigged this election, I mean, their families, then their family will not have a visa. And you know, most of our government officials, they have that family member living in the United States. So I believe that was one of the reasons that deterred the guys then from doing what they plan on doing.
So let me play devil's advocate here. There are a lot of Liberians who have not endeavored to come to America. They're well off. They're doing well. They visit other countries. What if that were the case and we had to say, listen, man, I've been in America. I live there. I don't care about America again. I'm just going to stay in power here. We'll not compromise. We're going to put them to the test. Think about it from that perspective.
Well, I'll disagree because Weah's wife is from America. He get his children living in America. He get most of the guys that have resources in America. So,
yeah, but stop there again. Weah's wife is from America. Weah's wife is from Jamaica. Weah's wife would say, I'm going nowhere. I'll stay with my husband. Weah's son is an American citizen who was born here. They can't deport him because of his father. They can't stop his asset. They can't kick him off the national team because of his father. He's a grown man. He's an adult. But let us not dwell on that, Flomo. Let's look at the positive here in this conversation tonight.
Well, I agree. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm coming. You're coming. The positive here in this conversation, the reason for this is because when you look at these other elections around the continent and places in the world, we can say then we are blessed to have this peace as tight as this election was, and the gains we made through our democratic process to come this far. I think it's applaudable, it's commendable, not just for President Weah, but the Liberian people.
For the whole country.
He respected them. He did not make them spectators in the democratic process. He listened to the decision. Let me take this call up. Stay there. I will come back to you. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, hang on. I'll come back to you. Mr. Abu, I'll come back to you. Just hang on. I'll come back to you.
Okay, I'm hanging.
Yeah. Go ahead quickly, Flomo. Wrap it up.
Yeah, no, like I said, what you say, I'm saying, yes, I agree. I'm not saying what he did was not right. I agree. It could have go either way. If it could have, all depend. If you have refused the result, it could have go either way, and we all could suffer, including him and
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
his family are living here.
My
So
man,
he
that
know
man wouldn't
that.
have suffered. The man got enough money. Now, what people on the grounds would be looking for food
Well,
to eat.
no, Chatira were all there. Chatira, you had though, they all were there. And when the thing happened, they all get affected.
I know.
So,
You're right,
I mean, it can go anyway. But my only thing, I said, thank you, George Weah. I believe George Weah was tired to be a leader, to be president. That's why. I believe so. That's my belief.
And you're right to your opinion. Let me take the next caller here quick.
Thank you.
Mr. Samir Abu, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Okay. How you doing, you guys? How you doing? The show is going very well. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Abu. Welcome.
People that fly us while they are still alive. And are you with me?
Go ahead. Yes, we are.
Okay. You see, they say you give some people their flowers while they are still alive. But before I go there, I just want to say this River Says Pro man, yeah, what happened to his show now? His show closed down or those
Well, may I own show?
No, I had a show.
Mr. Abu.
Okay. But the funny thing is that, George Weah brought in the comical aspect, of his soccer career. Volcano, you play soccer. You guys go on the football field, like during the first half, the number 10 is there. He receives the ball before the backer comes to him. Then he dribbles in. All of a sudden, the backer stands, the man scores a goal. Then he put his hand up and said, offside. The referee said, no, they're not offside. I really go.
My men are real good.
The man would decide, the players would say, okay, let's play on, because they know that's just the beginning of the game. But at the end of the game goes on until when the final whistle is blown. Then he made them want to fight to say, well, they say the goal, the man scored the first time. Well, you agree the first time the man scored a goal, he scored a goal, you agree on the goal, you continue to play the game. The final part, when they finish beating you, then you say you want to fight. Like Jefferson Koji and his own man then. So Joe, just keep on saying, man, they finish beating you. What can we do? And the time was supposed to pull out contention, all the money was spent, the thing you were supposed to do, you didn't do it. You wait until they finish beating you. After the final whistle, then you say you want to fight. You can't do that. That's what George Weah did. The comical aspect of his football career, and that's what they used to do.
And I think you're right. You're right.
That's true, Mr. Abu. That's true.
Those guys didn't do the work they were supposed to do.
Yeah, they did.
It's a combination of many factors that led to the defeat. And we knew it from every aspect of it and thought that,
You're the number 5. They say catch the man before he take the ball. But you let the man catch the ball, then you stand there and put your hand, or you say that outside.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go to goal. You agree? You say, well, time stay there, let's play. Last minute to time, and when they finish blowing the whistle, then you say you want to go hijack the referee. That's what some guys can do. Last minute to time, you want to go fight the referee, they say referee cheated for us.
But look,
yeah,
quickly,
I'm listening.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Abu.
No, go ahead. He's done.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I was just saying that there are people who saying that the supporters of Mr. Weah did not, help him. That's why he lost. I would say George Weah himself also takes the blame.
But
because
just said that I don't think you should even repeat because we're running out of time. He
okay.
said that his governance, the things that he's doing now smartly, had he done just an ounce of those things, probably the result and outcome would have been different. You just said it.
No, I was actually talking about how he handled the election.
Okay.
And, take for example, Eugene Nangbe has never won any kind of victory. You have a party structure. You take a Eugene Nangbe being chairman of campaign committee, not communicating with the party leadership. You have internal fight. People can see eye to eye. You recruit people who lack the ability to even convince 2 or 3 persons. And these are the people that you get a responsibility to go and campaign for you. All of that contributed to his downfall. That's just what I wanted to say.
Okay. Fair enough. But, like we're talking about, right now in Liberia, the speakership is something that being vied for. We heard earlier that Musa Belede was in the running, We heard that Thomas Fowler was in the running. We heard about Richard Kuhn and Fonadi Kofa. And it seems as though with everything that has happened, it may be down to the two of them.
The two of them.
Hearing probably a woman wants to go as deputy speaker. Musa Belida wants to go as deputy speaker. Fonadi had a press conference where I listened to a greater portion of it. He loaded some of the questions asked, but he didn't want to accept that what happened in America was transferable to Liberia. In his statement, he said that the people should not talk about what happened
in America. Yeah.
They should talk about his years in Liberia since he returned, what he's done, the record he set, whether he's ever squandered, whether he ever corrupted anyone. But Moses,
the
lifestyle of these guys and what they're making as representatives, the budgetary allotment, the amenities and the perks they get, the kickbacks, and all these things, coupled with all of the deals that they're making behind the scene, that they're giving monopoly to certain businesses in the country. You want to tell me that this man is saying here to the Liberian people that he's a man of clean record? So let's go to the clip.
Yeah, play the clip, then we can analyze it.
I just grabbed it from somewhere. Hopefully, We'll find that part, but I didn't get a cue to the.
We'll watch it, play a segment, then we discuss it. Yeah.
So let's go.
What were your general observations of the election? And in the aftermath of the entire process, where one party won by a narrow percentage and was accepted by the president, what will you also say about where and how far our democracy has come?
Okay, so my general observation about the process was it was elections. People hype their candidates, people hype their thoughts, people hype their behavior. But remember, this is the first elections we've had without foreign troops on the ground. This is the first elections we've had without substantial international participation. This was an all-Liberian election. It turned out to be one of the most peaceful elections we've had. The Elections Commission did well. And the fact that a president can concede with just 28,000 votes, even before the final results were net, it was almost like America. Okay, so I think we built from that. Okay, we built from that concession. As I usually tell people, the time for politics is over. The time for governance has begun. You're correct. With 28% margin between two candidates, you almost say it was a draw game, but somebody got to carry it, maybe on penalty, right? So then we have a particular responsibility now to unify and reconcile this country. I think Madam Salif, after the war, did well in making sure the trains ran on time, in preserving the peace. I think President Weah solidified that peace. And I think it's incumbent upon President-elect Boyka, and looking at his continence and his record, there is no reason to believe that he will go anywhere else other than on the path of peace. And in developing a path of peace in an era of a divided country, we have to reconcile and get a balanced government. And that's why the 55th looks to breach that balance and become a body that will be able to work with the executive while maintaining its own independence. Thank you.
All right, so let's pause there, Moses, and let's take the last part because we've covered extensively the piece that we talked about that has to do with President Weah and the margin and his acceptance of the result. Let's not dwell on it. Let's focus on what he's talked about, a balanced government, and it's incumbent upon Black Eye to ensure that reconciliation begins with a balanced government.
Well, look, Volcano, Mr. Kofa only reiterated the disposition of the CDC. They want an inclusive government. And that is beyond their prerogative. It is Mr. Walker and the Unity Party, prerogative to decide who serves in the government or who doesn't. For someone to, or foolishly, and I'm not trying to put a deputy speaker down, for him to foolishly argue that for the fact that the margin between the two candidates is so low, that means that the country is divided. He forgets to know the millions of dollars that they spend. They literally stole the country's money, and the people voted against them. And for him to come and argue that the country is divided, the country is not divided. Oh, now you want an inclusive government. When you hire your government, were you inclusive? Did they not leave Tyler supporters out? The NPP, the internal fight within the NPP, wasn't that on the basis of the same thing? Other political parties that form alliance with them.
I like that word prerogative, because Joel Howard Taylor made it a prerogative to say that if you were not for the CDC, forget it, you're not getting jobs.
Yeah, it was their time.
So how can now he calls for a balanced government when in fact the president, the speaker, the chief justice, the deputy speaker, many of the other folks, pro tem, many of the other folks in the government,
everybody came from Southeast.
One region. So, but let's go back to him. I just thought that we should hit that on the head, because a balanced government for me will mean when people hold themselves accountable and do what is expected of them, whether they are in majority. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
If the Unity Party decides that no sedition will serve in the government, except elected positions that they won.
Yeah.
But if those people who they put in are willing to serve the people by the books and be accountable, after the leader in Boaca sets the tune and said, this is what we want, then for me, I don't have a problem.
No, it is their right to decide who serves and who doesn't.
What we want is for the Liberian people to be restored to their dignity, that they can have a decent meal, that the kids can go to school at their expense, that they have healthcare in the country. I mean, just so many things, So it wouldn't matter for me. Put people there with integrity, whether they come from Timbuktu, whether they come from the moon. Once they're Liberians who mean well for the country, we can move on. Let's hear the brother again.
Yeah.
Good morning, Councilor Kufa.
Good morning.
Well, still at the electoral process, you won and you're back, now opting to become speaker. 2 quick concerns. Most of the top officials in the CDC have been sanctioned. We would like to hear your initial reaction to that. And you, of course, been accused of masterminding the defeat of the outgoing speaker, Dr. Chivers. Can you also bring clarity on that, about his defeat? You've been directly alleged that you instigated whatsoever that led to his defeat, and you also supported the process at night so he cannot win the case. What can you exactly say to that?
Okay, on the question of no, sorry,
See that?
speaker. In the structure of our input.
We can answer the question.
Okay, let's solve the issue of the election. We want to be systematic.
And we cannot even talk about the way that guy is conducting.
We like that.
Okay, I guess this is unprecedented in our democracy that prior to the announcement about the National Elections Commission, the president conceded defeat. I guess it might have sent some chills in the spines of you members of the CDC, especially from the high level, considering that some of your plans were hitched on his second term. What do you think could have been done differently that would have led to the re-election of the CDC?
Well, I'm not sure. I have often pondered that question, and as yet, I don't have an answer. It is clear maybe we should have paid more attention to what people were saying. Um, the president's agenda, in my view, was not so antithesis to the agenda of the people that warranted the kind of vote in a closed election it was. Obviously, the people felt differently. And I think maybe a way to gauge the population, to gauge the Liberian people on what their actual thinking is, would be a mechanism that we are employed. But I was surprised, you're right. Um, and it is what it is. That's elections. Somebody wins, somebody loses. And I'm glad, I remember, I don't like to repeat conversations I have with the president that are generally private, but I remember about 3 years ago, the president and I sat down with one other member at his house, and we were talking about, there was some either coup or election violence somewhere, and we were debating that. And we were even talking about our own upcoming elections in 2023 and controversies that come from that. And the president made a profound statement. He said, nobody is going to fight war over my business. The day the Liberian people say they don't want me, I'll pack my things and I will leave. And that is exactly what he did. And so I was disappointed. I was not surprised. And I think he has set Liberia on a trajectory that it will be very difficult now for somebody to walk back the presidency. We have deconstructed in this country very successfully over the last 18, 20 years, the imperial presidency. It doesn't mean the presidency doesn't have power anymore. It does not have the kind of power it had before. And I am willing to bet, on a President Boycott, he will further deconstruct the imperial presidency because he's a simple person. All those trappings and all that power, you will see he will devolve them to some of where they need to be. And some people will be surprised also. But this is a great time to be in this Liberian democracy. So I think with all of that, that is what Liberia is about. One, we've lost, we're governing together.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, I want to pick up on your words used, deconstructing the imperial presidency. That would mean allowing other branches of government to have the powers that really given them by the Constitution.
Sure.
Especially the legislature.
Sure.
Over the years, public perception of the legislature has been that the legislature is rubber stamped, it dances within the caprices of the presidency, and negative connotations out there. Let me ask you this question. Is the legislature Liberia's problem?
No.
That's the general perception.
No, the legislature is not Liberia's problem. The legislature may be part of the problem. But I can tell you this, we in the legislature, we heard the Liberian people. When you have, I think Honorable Snow said about 53 of our colleagues did not come back, that's an astounding number, And my impression from the incoming 55th is these are people who are prepared and determined to work with the executive branch to carry on the president's agenda, but in an independent fashion and with vigorous oversight. If they do that, you will see government work, and you will see that with the executive branch and the legislative branch working cooperatively but independently of both branches, I think you see that we have taken one more step towards the advancement of this democracy.
Moses, so I know you wanted to comment.
Yeah. Something I wanted to say, I would love for us to even start with a journalist, Volcano. You can see the way the entire news conference was being handled. It tells you that all the guys sitting over there were compromised. For the fact that another journalist will ask a question and another media colleague shuts him down. You say, oh, no, that is not what we're discussing. So you can see that this thing was a complete public relations, event planned to sell Mr. Kofa.
Because if you go back to his statement, meaning the so-called journalists who said we're still in the elections.
Yeah.
But that's the disrespect
It's
to
a
the
sin,
colleague.
yeah, to the other colleague, yeah.
The colleague question had to do with the elections.
The election.
Accordingly, Mr. Kofa, the speaker, current speaker, is accusing you
Yeah, or
for
undermining,
masterminding
yeah.
and undermining his defeat
Yeah.
because you want his job. You want a man's job,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that was a powerful question for him to answer, and for this guy to just
shut the man off.
Shut the man question down because Konati said, "Oh, you want me to answer the question?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah. We
Can you
that was
imagine that?
irresponsible. That was disrespectful.
Absolutely disrespectful.
So
it tells you the level. It tells you how poverty is really hurting independent journalism in Liberia. To see a group of people to tell you how terrible they even perform at that news conference. You gotta convicted criminal sitting before you. He wants to be speaker of the House of Representatives, one of the most powerful positions in the country. And you show up to such a news conference without even researching the man. It took somebody from Grand Cape Mount County to even make reference to the criminal act Mr. Kofa committed in the United States in 2005. All the journalists sitting over there, the quote-unquote journalists sitting over there, none of them ever spoke about that.
But I don't think that they didn't research. I don't think that they didn't know. Like you said again, it comes back to the conclusion that it was a staged publicity to sell Mr. Kofa. We'll do it on the Liberian perspective. We'll not go to your international past. We'll just do it on the Liberian perspective. And he answered the question that was placed by that caller the same way.
Yeah, that's how you talk.
So they knew what they were doing. They knew what they have set up to do, and that's why they were staying within that lane. Let's go back again to more of the clip.
Will you go to Jerome Cameron?
Yes. Okay. So I'd like to still be on the election campaign activities in the just ended 2023 election. You were going through crying for Nigeria's cry, crying the CDC's cry, and crying your own cry. But yet, you took up time to look at Facebook, listen to the radio, read newspapers. My question to you is the activities that counter around our campaign in the just ended election. How do you grade those activities? Messaging. Do we need to improve and where? As a national leader at the side of what are those things that you've heard? Being the mouth of campaign spokesmen and the global parties, and we think we need to improve on.
Okay, so I think social media, you're right, social media has changed the dynamics in which and how we conduct elections or how information is disseminated. That's the very first thing. No longer you have one conduit, which is the traditional press, disseminating information. And actually, both parties, all parties involved in the elections, took liberal use of the social media to propound their own messages. My own disappointment continues to be in you guys. Okay, as the traditional media, someone told me I never went to journalism school, but they said one of the first things they teach in journalism is who, what, when, and how. I think you'll have a mantra. Nowadays, all somebody have to say is Kofa raped somebody last night. And the first thing I get is, what is your comment to what that allegation I'm running with my story? The person who made the allegation is not asked to verify this allegation. It's not asked for any other thing. It's not asked the who, why, when. They just have to make an allegation. And that has now become the mantra. People just choose now to just throw allegations out. And you guys bite on it. Oh, what you don't ask, you don't query the person who's making the allegation. You query the person who is being alleged against. That we heard we had information that you did X, Y, and Z. What is your comment? Someone called me on radio live. I forgot what the issue was now. Called me live on radio on an allegation of a rumor. I guess when I finish with him, his audience was mad. But I think there has to be some responsibility. And the local press, though, did very well, I must say, in disseminating the news and in controlling the balance of views. But I would say it would be good if we take it one step further. Because remember now, they call you the fourth estate. You are part and parcel of this democracy. Anything we do here in the 55th or anything the executive branch does, you are the one ultimately who are going to tell the people what happened. We ask you and we beg you in this, our democracy, to step up your game.
So let me just follow up quickly.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm one person, I'm a fan of peer review. And also like people from other professionals, put this out in the media, assessing our activity, the job that we do. But I have to ask this question, Deputy. Most of us, not me particularly, I mean, I sit on radio and use uncountable words to refer to the police society. We got very good friends among you, the politicians. I will be on the radio and say, oh man, join you. What do you have to say about that?
Oh, but what do you expect, right? Our politics is a crab syndrome politics, where we haul each other down. That's what we do to each other. So if you went on the radio and you were unkind to me, the other crabs will call you and congratulate you. That is unfortunate, but that's just the nature of the beast, of what we're in. That is what is despicable about the nature of what we are in. If it is not me, it must not be anybody. If Honorable Anders can make progress or Honorable Briggs can do this, let no one be able to do it. And that's why people are encouraged to slander their colleagues, and people are encouraged to say damaging things about their colleagues. It's just the politics.
In your earlier reference to the media, you cited an isolated situation.
Don't get vexed now.
Seem to cast a expression on the entire media, which I thought not to ignore.
Okay.
But on several occasions, I think we've called out individuals whose actions were diametrically opposed to generally acceptable standards. And that has helped our democracy to a very great extent, and you just bragged about the progress we've made in our democracy. How do you reconcile the expression you just cast on the media versus the praise you gave to our democracy?
No. So remember, my last comment was the local press did well in disseminating the news and the views. I'm not casting aspersions on you. I'm casting aspersion on the attitude where allegations are made, and without developing its foundation, it automatically gets pinned on a politician as an act that he has to defend. In the process, you have developed a system of guilty until proven innocent, and that's what I was talking about.
So Moses, I mean, when you listen rather, and the way things are going, you can see again, and I think the whole process is ignominious when you look at it. It's shameful, it's disgraceful, especially with the way the media practitioners, so-called media practitioners, are asking questions and wanting to hear what they want to hear.
Yeah.
He scored some good points for some of the things he talked about. But let's come back to the conclusion here. You think that Fonati's speakership, if he were to win and become Speaker of the Republic of Liberia, is it good for the country?
Of course not. You do not want a former felon to occupy the position of Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Irrespective of what he said, that his crime was committed in America. I'm coming. His crime was committed in America, and it's many years ago. And the Liberian people shouldn't dwell on that. What belongs to Caesar is given to Caesar. But let's focus on the Liberia. On the Liberia scenario of my being here, what I've done, the credibility I've presented, and let's put the past behind.
Well, Volcano, let me say again, unfortunately, Mr. Kufa has no credibility. He's a very dishonest man. He lied even during the news conference. Mr. Kufa was convicted in 2005. And he told a journalist the thing that happened in the United States, that's 20 years ago. That's not true. That's 18 years ago. 2005 to
It's just a
2023.
come on.
No.
It's a
We
ball.
want to hold. He knows exactly when he was convicted.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And then he tried to minimize, the gravity of what he did. He said, "Oh, that thing happened in America, or because they have nothing to throw at me. That's why they're talking about what happened in America." But he forgets to know that when someone vies for the position of a speaker, they look at you in totality. They don't just look at one situation. Let's even take it to Liberia. This man is deputy speaker. At the same time, is what? A lawyer for Mr. Weah. Isn't that conflict of interest? The man is deputy speaker. He lied to the journalist that in 2016 he disassociated from the law firm, the international law group. But he comes back and tells the same journalist that even when I'm at the Capitol, when issues come involving the ILG, I always walk away. But if you disassociate yourself from these people, you resign from the law firm in 2016, why would you walk away when the issue comes on the floor involving them? Why can't he publish his resignation letter? Why can't he publish the communication between he, Maritime, and the other institutions of government that people claim that he represents, saying he wants to come across as Mr. Clean? Why can't he publish that? So say, yeah, this man is no longer with us. The retainership.
But most of what good it is when people can fix anything. People can fix any document.
Yeah, but I mean,
it will have
what,
a little bit of clarity, but sometimes you know our country, you know what happened.
Yeah, but that's where the credibility of the media comes into play. It is unfortunate that this man assembled a group of journalists that he gave chicken change, and they all show up to do public relations for him. The questions that they asked, the questions were immaterial to the position that this guy is seeking. They want to do public relations. Another journalist asked a question which was very critical. Another colleague of his shuts him down. Oh, no. My man, right now, we're not discussing that. Who are you to determine the kind of question the man who is being interviewed to answer or not to answer? You're just a journalist like the other colleague. So you make a fanatic Kofa who is a former felon, you make him speaker. The implications for the incoming administration. These people, do they understand that? Will fanatic Kofa come and go to the U.S. Congress to make representation on behalf of the Liberian government? Don't forget now, Liberia is not an island. Liberia is part of the global community. People will have to do business with fanatic Kofa. They will have to do business with him on behalf of the Liberian government. How will people go do business with somebody that they have concern about his integrity? That's why he's missing out on. Let me stop there and give it to you.
Well, again, it boils down to the people who represent the Liberian people in the legislature. Majority of those guys are saying that Mr. Kofa is the best choice.
Many people are hungry people, man.
And I think yes, he's a very intelligent, learned, smart, well put together guy.
Yeah.
He made a mistake, whether intentional or unintentional. The crime was committed, and so he did his time. And I believe he was probably. Do you know? I haven't researched whether he was deported or.
I am not sure as to whether he was deported or not.
He just couldn't do business in America.
He couldn't do business. Yeah, his law degree was bad.
What did Neil means thing here?
Let me go to Liberia and go function.
Yeah.
So Liberia is the wasteland.
Yeah, the wasteland
where people commit crime and go there and become heroes overnight. And this is the man that he wants you to make him your speaker. That nobody from the U.S. Congress will feel comfortable doing business with.
And
Our lawmakers.
that in itself will tell our international partners that we're not serious.
Of course.
How can we elect a president who we cannot find corrupt stories about, evidence of that, but then we have a first branch of government head?
Yeah, that is a criminal.
Yeah. So there is a oxymoron here. How do we reconcile the two? Needless to say, our justice system that we continue to cry about that compromise.
Yeah,
So
it's unfortunate.
In a quick summary, we'll say that the conversation tonight was more about President Weah and his decision to concede. And while other elections are all, excuse the expression, bullshit around the world, ceremony election bullshit.
Bullshit. Serbia,
bullshit.
Serbia, yeah, bullshit.
Democratic Republic of Congo, bullshit. Gabon, bullshit. You know, just bullshit elections. Liberia
The
has
message y'all cause noise, oh.
has a new standard. Even America should borrow from us.
Yeah, we did well.
Even America should borrow from us. With the less of sophistications we have, the will of the people and the intelligence decision of President George Weah got us where we are, and our peace continue to thrive. Every Liberian who think he had every reason to say yes because it was sufficient enough, I don't think anything could have happened.
Yeah.
That's Africa. That's Africans. We can't always be the laughing stock. We can't always be the one to look down upon. And for once, the collective effort of the Liberian people and the will to change the democracy prevailed. And President Weah is a major player and a contributor to that fact.
Absolutely.
As it is, we'll go now to memory lane. And from there, we'll hang into what type of country is this?
And Volcano,
say
just give me 30
minute.
seconds. Yeah, just 30 seconds. Let me
Go
say
ahead,
this.
quick. Wow.
Quickly.
Yeah.
What I want to say to the people of Liberia, especially the lawmakers, is that if you elect Funati Kofa as your speaker, then that just defeat the purpose of Liberians voting George Weah out. Why will you vote another criminal out and vote in another criminal? When Funati Kofa becomes speaker, one of the most powerful positions in the country, if you gave him that, then it defeats the whole purpose of voting Mr. Weah and his gang of criminals out. That's how I would like to say on that.
Okay. So let's go to memory lane. Manin Sumo, of course, is a contributor, and he wrote something on Boxing Day. Boxing Day is the day after Christmas.
That's today.
And it says it's a day of gifts and not fight. So when we hear the word boxing, we think it means to box. I'm not sure if it has to do with putting things in a box, and that's why it was called Boxing Day. But let's see what he says about nature. Humans feel gratified when appreciated. Just a thank you can change a man's all-day labor into joy, the joy of feeling appreciated. To make it better, give him a cup of palm wine or a soft drink, or better still, a cold glass of beer, candies, cookies, and toys for the kids. Appreciation is man's heart desire. Show appreciation to people. During historical times, it was customary for servants of the wealthy or elites to work on Christmas Day. The servants catered to guests while they celebrated Christmas. In appreciation for the dedicated services, the elites would assemble gift boxes for the servants to take home on the day following Christmas as a token of gratitude. The servants then will unbox their gifts the day after Christmas and celebrate their rewards for being a good servant. Eventually, the day after Christmas became recognized as a major celebration in commemoration and honor for the common servants. Boxing Day historically has nothing to do with two men or women in the ring to fight. The added event of two men in the ring was initially introduced in England when the grand prize was set for the strong man in the ring. Thus, the occasion was climaxed with a boxing match, and the winner walked away with a trophy and cash prize. Countries such as New Zealand, Canada, Britain, Australia, and other Commonwealth still celebrate Boxing Day. The United States of America doesn't celebrate Boxing Day anymore. Liberia does not celebrate Boxing Day. In 1978, or rather in 1798, the USA adopted its own day after Christmas celebrations by creating Thanksgiving Day. But let me run my mouth small. Me, pa, I want to be a historian, so that not politic, yeah? President Weah now bring our own Boxing Day. It is called Feliz Navidad. He assembled his servants and sang Feliz Navidad with no gifts for them. He told them, "Y'all go enjoy yourself." And I also heard when he said, "All the soldiers then are single, so y'all go look for your man there." You remember New Year celebration started in Mesopotamia in 2000 or 2000 years rather before Christ was born. New Year celebration is one of the oldest global celebrations. So my fellow Liberians, as we approach the new year, y'all go enjoy yourself, yeah? Happy Boxing Day and a prosperous Happy New Year. I come in peace. So this is just a little teaser here. He wanted to commemorate today as a day of celebration titled Boxing Day.
Yeah,
But
great piece.
Moses,
Yeah.
what type of country is this?
Mhm.
That in as much as the president outgoing, they electing nobody's even one praise the man small.
No, man.
You see the ingratitude of the Liberian people?
Man.
What type of country is this? So the man want to accept he accept the result and scatter thing and everybody running all around. What do you say?
Can you imagine when people saying that the man was coerced? Okay, let's agree that he was even coerced. But you remember in 1990, Samuel Doe was given the opportunity to leave and he refused. And thousands of people died. Some of people are big here. We know everybody versed with John Weah, the way he had a country on autopilot. But this one, yeah, my people, let's give it to the man. He deserves it. He did well. He did well. He put Liberia first. Right, Volcano?
He did. He did. He did. And the time he was going to pull Liberia first, he didn't. But he did. He did it this time around. And so we said, thank you, President Weah. Go enjoy your retirement. I don't know where you're going, whether you're staying in Liberia, but I will be seeing later.
Yeah. Thank you. What type of country is this? That journalists go ask questions, another journalist say, no, my man. Don't ask the man that kind of question. Because if you need taking carton.
The man sanctioning the man on the question. What type of country is this?
And the man is doing that thing on camera too. The guy said, look, Mr. Kofa, you come here at the time now, the gas station. So the CDC executive, then the other journalist said, no, don't ask the man that kind of question. Man, look, Jesus. La Brofini, Abogella.
What type of country is this that the people hear the woman say, hey, Joe, we are winning again, then like Brofini, they say the man say he will finish the country. What type of country is it that the people don't even know their own common parlance?
Yeah.
You know, they say all the time, oh, but because of
Yeah.
politics now, they tend
Yeah.
to whole thing upside down. It's like,
The whole thing upside
that
down,
that
man.
guy is a man of war. He said he win, no peace. They will scatter the country. The country, they will finish the country. What type of country is this?
What type of country is this, my brother? What type of
What type
country?
of country is this that we decide to make Jetty the billionaire in our country? Just take our whole economy and give it to the Indian man.
Yeah, man.
What type of country is this?
What type of country is it that it takes an Indian man to feed your prisoners?
I call it corporate social
responsibility. Even though they may pay taxes to the government, but they say, my man, Jetty, they want you on your lab, yeah.
And I only drive Rezo with red pepper and chicken soup. Why you give me water and give me no gas?
With fried pepper.
What type of country is this, my man? I love you, Robert.
It takes an Indian man to feed the prisoner. Then you got your president driving $150,000 car.
No bush meat that he won't pay for.
Yeah, what type of country is it? The people accuse the president of driving stolen cars. Jesus.
But what type of country is this that they put ban on the? Is it the exporting of robots?
Yeah,
robots, right?
exportation of robots. They put a ban on it.
And then they give monopoly to the Jetty man.
Yeah.
I think he opened a big factory in Maggie.
Yeah, and they want everything to be manufactured in the country now, you know. So can you imagine now, man? Even when Firestone, all the year Firestone being in the country, the local people had the right to decide who they wanted to sell to. George Weah with less than 3 months to departure, he said, no. That Jetty feeling our prisoners, then you can't do that to them, man. Nobody will export raw out of the country.
What type of country is this? When the cartoon journalist becomes the moderator.
That's a good one, Dr. Sumo. Jesus is.
What type of country is this? When civil servants did not take pay in 3 months, but the president sang a song for them and asked them to go enjoy themselves. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. And he got done. He slapped his hands. He said, y'all go enjoy yourself. I'm done. My time over.
What type of country is the Volcano that the president went to the capital in January of this year and told the people, say, oh, I didn't know that anybody in my government was making less than $150 a month. So as of today's day, everybody's money will go on. The lowest will be $150. Now, with less than 1 month ago, he cabinet ministers write all the civil servants and tell them, oh, you know, as of January, all of you guys who are making less than $150, your money will go back to where it was because the contract is over. But when the president made a pronouncement, was there a contract that these people signed? When the president speaks, it's a policy statement, you know. Then you hold the poor civil servants from there.
And especially when that was in place.
Yeah.
And you guys, because
you can't change
it. And the president pretending like he didn't know. All that thing was around the table before him. I'm sure Tua explained it. Or Tua talked plenty and fast. They didn't understand. Just sounded him back.
He said, man, just sounded him back. Many guys are funny.
What type of country is this? When the United States bottling company, the USTC, that developed Coca-Cola, right?
Yeah.
That franchise now is run by an Indian man like Bro. I mean, Jetty making all of the soft drink in the country.
The man runs Coca-Cola?
Coca-Cola, they're making Coca-Cola in what do you call that place? Vatan. He got a factory there. So the Coca-Cola is in a plastic bottle. They got Coca-Cola, they got Fanta, they got Sprite, they got energy drink.
But why would these people allow one man to just dominate the economy like that?
I mean, listen, that George Haddad, that Jetty. I mean, we finish by. That thing got to change, though. It has to change.
Man, I just made Liberian spectators,
Emmanuel Jackson, what type of country is this the JTT committee, John Malu, Amos Twe, are having a talk of war. Who should serve on a cluster team and haven't assumed power yet?
Yo.
Whatever country is this?
Mm-hmm. I still there are very internal, rivalry going on. I listened to it briefly while driving, from work.
Whatever country is this?
Yeah.
When the president public policy statement becomes a contract. Civil service. Whatever country is this?
Yeah, but man. But for Kenya, how do you cut my money from 150 to $45? Then you say the thing our contract. Did I sign a contract?
But let's go back. Whatever country is this?
Yeah.
When the city mayor sat on there, the country got dirty so bad. He said he not die ball.
Yeah.
But it take goodwill citizens just
to clean the city.
Clean place now that the time over to clean the place.
Yeah. The good goodwill, citizens of Liberia, since Mr. Barker was announced president, the people have started giving the city a facelift. That's laudable, Volcano. Wow. What type of country is this, my man?
No, it's 901. Yeah. You want to say one more? Let's wrap up.
Yeah, I mean, quickly, I just want to say it was indeed a great show. Let me say thank you to our many viewers out there. It was a pleasure having you guys tonight. I've seen all those positive comments. Yeah, this is what we do in this place. People who don't really know what we are about. So now they say, oh, you guys are anti this person, anti. But look, when it comes to cutting a speed, we call it a speed. We don't shy away from saying the truth. I think Mr. Weah deserves this, and we should give him his flower while he's alive. Great show. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Martin. Thanks to every one of you for coming tonight.
By the grace of God, we'll be back here on Friday, which of course will be the last show of 2023.
Wow.
And we'll be ushering into 2024 on January 2nd, of course, which will be a Tuesday, day after my birthday, New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Again, we say thank you for hanging out with us tonight. All you guys, Thomas Adwaji, Manasuma Emmanuel Jackson, Fimo Roberts. Seem to be your first time here joining us here tonight. Good to see you again, Ram Snodden, for coming back. It's a pleasure having you. Tony and Brooks, thanks for stopping by. We say thank you to River Says Pro, Flomo Livingstone, Darlington Pelina, our former colleague at LBS. Good to see you hanging out here with us tonight. Mr. Samuel Abu, who called in.
Yeah.
We say thank you. Adiaha Omo in Australia for your continued support to us. Alphonso Yenu couldn't make it in, but he kind of weighed in on the conversation tonight. Alphonso, good to see you. Good that you could stop by. Maria Gardell, it's always a pleasure having you here with us. Jemima Cisco for joining us here tonight. We say thank you to all of you who stopped by. It's a pleasure having you as usual. Volcano, Shelton, Moses, Sandy on this 209th edition. We'll be back here Friday, God's willing. Have a good night.
Thank you.